Welcome back to First Edition. Mask wearing is no longer mandatory, but instead is now recommended in many circumstances. Feeling excited, confused, nervous? Well, Dr. Janine Hubbard joins us to talk about how to navigate our latest version of normal in this week's Get Psyched with Dr. Janine. Thank you so much. It's great to see you again.
I've missed you. It's nice to have you back.
So why might people be struggling with these new guidelines?
Well, here's the interesting thing is when we have strict rules, even if we might not like them, it makes it easier for us to know how to behave. When things are uncertain or a little vague or recommended, it actually makes us feel much more uncomfortable because we're not sure how we should behave. We're not sure how we're being judged by others in terms of our actions. And it actually makes us feel, some discomfort.
So how can we then cope with this uncertainty?
A lot of it is figuring out your own comfort levels. And that's going to be an individual decision. And the reality is that's probably going to change week by week for, the rest of the fall as things progress. But the big thing is being respectful, especially when it comes to businesses. If you are someone who, if you go into a business that requires a mask and that's something that you don't want to do anymore, just be respectful. Either choose to go somewhere else or if it's something really important, perhaps having a polite private conversation with them to negotiate how they can meet your needs. Same thing if you are going somewhere where they're not wearing masks, especially if it's, like a hairdresser or something where it's close up, just ask. Everybody that I've talked to, especially who's in the service industry, is more than happy to comply again and say, yeah, absolutely, while you're here, I will put on my mask. And if they're not, again, you have choices in terms of you don't have to feel uncomfortable. You may decide you're ready to try without, or you may decide that you're going to go someplace else. The other big thing right now is start talking to your kids about what they're comfortable with and what situations they're comfortable wearing a mask or not wearing a mask, and being prepared for if they go back to school and masks are optional, and what happens if one of your friend is wearing one and one of yours isn't. You'd really like to keep yours on, but you're worried about judgment. Talk to them now. Start preparing that conversation.
So what is the main message that we should be considering here?
Guys, we've been through a lot. This is another step. Be kind, be patient, be respectful, and be prepared. We're finally had enough behavior change that we're all now well trained to have a mask with us at all times. Just keep it there. You might not have to wear it the full time, but you'll be glad you had it if you need to.
Now, of course, you work in the medical profession, so how do you talk to your patients about wearing a mask?
Again, it's having that open conversation. So from my end, first of all, I've been very open with them in terms of disclosing my vaccination status. I'm more than happy and delighted to be able to say that I'm double vaxxed. But I talked to them about the fact that my services will remain masked because of the caseload that I work with. I mostly work with kids under 12 or kids who are immune compromised. And I don't want to risk their safety. And again, when you explain it in a respectful way like that, people generally speaking are pretty understanding. Or again, if there's explicit concerns, we can navigate that. We can negotiate it. We can figure out a compromise.
Well, Dr. Janine Hubbard, thank you so much for coming in. I usually put my mask on at the end of the news, but we aren't really wearing masks, but we're fairly distanced from each other here anyway. But I know I'm going to still carry my mask in my purse, and I'll probably wear it more often than I might even think I will right now.
Yeah, and again, guys, it's just adjusting to yet another state of change, and be prepared for it to be ongoing and flexible and ever evolving, just like everything else has been since this pandemic started.
Thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks.